because of the distance between the two opposites. Whatever you do will never satisfy, and whatever he does will never satisfy. In fact, nothing that a man does in space-time can satisfy. The answer must be found in breath, for that is the only place of nullification where everything is one. I noticed that health is a very delicate balance. If you eat a lot, the body gets very bulky. If you eat very little, there apparently appears to be a lack of nutrition. So you have to go in between. When you're young, the body apparently appears to be forgiving. You make mistakes with your body, and the body will compensate for it. But when you're elderly, you'll notice that more and more you have to be sensitive to the balance of the body. Awesome. And the funny thing about it is that we don't like the balancing. In the sense that if we go very hard on our exercise, we go to the extreme. And if we are not exercising at all, we relax ourselves completely. So we seem unable to do the balancing. So you see people who are going to one extreme, another go to another extreme. It's unbelievable. But where is the in-between? Because the in-between is the solution. And for most of us, we are clever talkers. And when it comes to doing, we hardly do. But then there are some who just simply do and do and do. And they forget to talk completely. Again, they're going to extremes. So do you know the solution? Well, there's one solution which the universe has provided to us. A husband and wife actually does the balancing. Isn't that right? Husband, the thoughts of a male is always different from the thoughts of a female. The female is concerned with the home. The male is concerned with projects and excellencies. So when we listen to each other, we are in the process of balancing. But how many of us listen to our wives? And how many wives will listen to the husband? There are lots of balancing to be done. For example, a country may pass its laws and rules. But that, in America, if too much of it would infringe the freedom of the individual. So in America, you don't have a law against riots. But in countries like Singapore, you have laws against riots. So what is happening? Who is right and who is wrong? Well, if you have too much freedom for the people, see what's happening in America. But if you have not much freedom in Singapore, see what's happening in Singapore. In Singapore, you find there's no rioting whatsoever. We can't do that. Sounds good, but then there are certain grievances which are not met. In America, there's too much of it. Sounds good, but then with this too much freedom, what's happening? A lot of clashes. So you see, you need a balance. And how do we achieve balance? That is a duty of men, something that's not exactly provided for us at all. In whatever we do, we need a balance. A man now decides to stay in a mountain. And he says to himself that it is peaceful here because I'm not involved with the activities of the world. So every day I look at the clouds and stay in the silence. That's fine. But are you missing something? Yes, you are. Let's say, for example, you fall sick. You need to go to a hospital, or do you need to? You have to go down to the city. But do you know how to go down to the city? Are you familiar with the things of the world? Perhaps you need to take a health supplement, but you haven't done that because you are not familiar with your handphone. So, what is happening again? You need to be participating with the world, but at the same time, you want to be with yourself. How do we achieve that? It is again a balance, which is a duty we all have, and it cannot be passed to another person. And all our life, we are here and our friends is there. We need to balance. Our friend tells us what to do, and we tell ourselves what to do, but they normally will contradict. So how did we do? We balance. How do we balance when everything is required for balancing? And the funny thing about it is this. You may think that balance is natural. You may think that you're doing it. Think carefully of all the examples that I've given you. Are you doing it? Obviously not. For most of us, whatever state that you're in right now is only one of the two. It's one of the dual polarities, whatever state you're in. For me, like I cut my hair short, doesn't mean it's the best. Some people prefer long hair. So there has to be a kind of balance. So how do we solve this kind of problem? Some people prefer to dress nicely when they are screened on the video. Well, for me, I just take it a natural approach. But am I missing something? Yes, I am, right? I'm not having the beauty that is required for video. Are they missing something? Yes, they are. They like the frankness and the honesty and the naturality of being what they are. So you see, friends, there is a balance. And how do we approach this balance in our life? Now, here we come to a very interesting point. Am I in the right? Or is he in the wrong? Yes, when we say about balance, what do we mean? We mean that neither of right and wrong is in the right or wrong. And very true. So because of that, we have to balance. And where is actually the place of true rightness? It is not in either of the polarities. It's actually in the nullification. If you observe carefully the 10 Commandments, and I'm sure most of you haven't observed it, if you have observed the 10 Commandments, you will notice that all the commandments is about nullification. There is no action that is actually correct or wrong. It has to be a nullification, neither an action or a no action. It's a nullification, a place of oneness, which is the true balance ground, which is the place I and you must go to. But you have a religion, don't you? Maybe no religion. Or whatever it is, if you are in a no religion, you say that your non-religion is the correct approach. And you will not speak to anybody about a religion. Or you may have a religion, and someone else may have another religion, and you will say that your religion is true, and the other religion false. Whatever it is, are you taking a nullifying ground? Are you entering into a nullification? Are you balancing? You see, my good friends, you're suddenly taken aback. Why? Because here you have a religion, and you're told now that the religion itself may need a balancing with another religion. Gosh. Or here you are having no religion whatsoever, and suddenly you've been told that you are not in the correct path. You're taken aback. you're surprised, you're angry. This video is telling you something you would disagree. So what can I say? All I can say is just simply I voice my opinion to you. And the way to enter into nullification is to enter breath. There is no other way. There is no other way to enter into a neutral place where there is neither action nor non-action, where there is neither right nor wrong. Right now, for example, I'm sitting here, but I couldn't be sitting over there, could I? I cannot. If I'm sitting here, then I'm sitting here. And over there, I'm not sitting because I'm sitting here. But the point I'm trying to stress out is that we have a tendency to believe that whatever we are doing right now is the correct thing to do. So in other words, we have a tendency to believe that on the other side is not the correct thing to do. But the truth is that the other side and this side have the same power over me. And therefore I need to balance the people. But how could I? I'm sitting here. How could I balance with what is over the other side? The secret is I need to observe my own thoughts. The secret is to turn into breath. There is no other way to continually balance and be in the neutral place of I am. Why do we need to turn to breath? Now look at it this way. I'm here and he's there. How are we ever going to merge together? We cannot. But that's one way. If he turns to breath and I turn to breath, then we become one. And that's the only way where two opposites will find nullification. As a man gets older, the two opposites get further apart. You find this phenomena in the universe. It comes from the black hole, but as the universe expands, the space in between them expands. Same thing with a man's universe. The space between our two thoughts expands. We find that life becomes more and more difficult to balance as a man gets older and older. Finally and ultimately, the man must realize that he has to turn both himself and the thoughts and the world he lives in all into breath, for that is the beauty, for that is I am. Can two opposites meet? No way, because of the distance between the two opposites. Whatever you do will never satisfy, and whatever he does will never satisfy. In fact, nothing that a man does in space-time can satisfy. The answer must be found in breath, for that is the only place of nullification where everything is one. And you may be asking me now, how on earth is it possible that there is no such thing as a right or a wrong? Whatever we are doing, we're doing one side of a dual polarity. And no matter what we do, there is a requirement to balance with the other side. It's an endless action. The balancing action is an endless action. No matter what we are, wherever we are, we still need to balance with the other side. Follow my video. There's so much to understand. So much to understand.